Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. All right, so I got a chance to see the box score from last night's game. Since, if you are aware, nobody could see it, not just myself. But it turns out that they didn't have the box score available upon the game ending last night. Lakers and who was it? Sacramento Kings in Sacramento, final preseason game. So there were some things that I wanted to be able to say that I just didn't have the information to share. So now I can. Um, we did not cut down on turnovers or 3-point shots. Now, I'm not critiquing that. I got to be careful to word myself properly because in the preseason, I understand that sometimes you will deliberately do things that do not necessarily work so that you can see for certain that they don't. And I think we may have seen a lot of that, so that's something I'm aware of. As I said once before, I don't think this game was necessarily for the fans' consumption. And as we become more knowledgeable, we can start to understand that a bit better. Certain games are just meant for experimental reasons, and sometimes that bleeds into the regular season as well. So expect it. There's a new team that has to develop a new system, and of course we got the Russell Westbrook conundrum and a couple other pieces that are out that have to be experimented with as well when they come back. So it's going to be a experiment fest. We're going to probably lose games because of it, um, or we can just go forward without some of these questions being answered about our team. Um, going with going with only what works. But problem is, you never actually find out what you have, and that's not really a good strategy for a playoff hopeful team. So we got to experiment with these first couple of preseason games as we have, and we're going to have to continue to find things that ultimately work. And until then, some of the stuff just isn't. And so, um, yeah, what isn't working for us? Turnovers. I think ball handling is a huge concern for myself. Looking at some of the players that we have on the floor, dribbling is not their thing, and that is a big problem as we discussed last night. And what we saw was in the stats sheet, it showed us we had 23 turnovers and 11 steals uh, were credited to the Sacramento Kings. More than half of the turnovers that we had were unforced. Just simple dribbling the ball off your feet, throwing the ball away, stuff like that. Um, some of the turnovers that we had as a team were passes that we were trying to get into the paint, trying new things that we didn't try last year with the new system that's in place. Um, as I call them, dive passes, but my terminology is not it's not official. But the point is that we're trying to get the buckets that are highest percentage. So I like the idea, but you're going to have to accept that you're going to turn the ball over when you force passes into the paint. Um, so we've been seeing a lot of that through the first couple of games, and you know, it's part of what I would consider to be forced turnovers because they're effectively taking the ball from you. So if you're going to have those turnovers off rip, it's most important that you don't have the ones that are not forced. So that's what I'm trying to say there. We just got to do better. Austin Reeves had three of them. Braun had a bunch, a handful rather. Russell came in, tossed the ball away twice in only 5 minutes of play before getting hurt. Uh, you know, Patrick Beverly had his share, so we just got to cut it down. I think that's what I saw there. Every single body, just about everybody on the team, had two turnovers. It wasn't like it was one person getting a bunch necessarily. Yeah, everybody who came in was effectively turning the ball over. So um, dribbling drills and ultimately just perfecting those plays that we're working on. So I think we'll get there. Now, um, this is kind of frustrating, I guess, but Stanley Johnson has been released from the Utah Jazz, but the Lakers are not going to be able to pick him up because of the fact that he was traded from us to the Jazz. So any other team in the world can pick him up except for us. I don't know what his market is in the NBA, which is real frustrating because I think we need him. I was just saying yesterday, it wasn't even yesterday, it was this morning. I was saying in my mind, is there a way if Stanley Johnson gets waived, we can reacquire him because obviously we're lacking in the wing position and he is what's missing. He's literally what's missing. And now he's free and we can't get him. That's just like, are you serious? That's kind of how I feel about that. So, yeah, no go there. We really need a wing too. That's the pathetic part about it. Um, so anyway, moving on from that. What else? I want to send special good energy. This is not a Laker related thing, but it's what's on my mind now. Dikembe Mutombo is going to be treated for a brain tumor. Got a lot of respect for Dikembe Mutombo. I've seen him in person once at an event that I was doing security at. Just great all around energy, great all around person, from what I understand, and a fantastic defensive Hall of Fame basketball player as well. So, with the charitable things that he's done in this world, he deserves the best, and I'm hopeful, very hopeful that he doesn't have to go through anything more so than what is already going on with that situation. So prayers and good energy toward the Mutombo family for sure. So that's what I want to say as well. Um, of course, we've already talked about Jordan Poole getting his extension, Draymond Green possibly, what that means. So that's not Laker related, but just running things off in my mind. So our team starts, Lakers particularly, we start our season next week on Thursday against the Warriors. And there's going to be some interesting things to see in regards to what happens between now and then with both of those two teams. I think it's reasonable to think that both of them will be shoppers in the trade market. And some of these teams that are, looking to do deals are looking to make moves before the season starts because they have pieces that they would much rather sell at the price that they are right now than at the prices that they're probably going to be once the season starts. Some of these guys, just they don't have the minutes for them, they don't have the role for them, and it's inevitable that they're going to have their numbers and all that just decrease just off of the sheer understanding of that. So teams are going to be aggressive, like before the season, like right now, in between this week or next couple of days. I expect there to be a lot of conversations had behind the scenes because they're just key pieces. Certain guys, I think Jonathan Isaac could probably benefit them to trade him between now and a couple of weeks if they don't have him in mind to keep. Jakob Poeltl was a guy that I think could be on the move because I know San Antonio would much rather not sign him. If they were, they probably would have already done it. So you could expect him. Obviously, Draymond Green, you're looking to see if they move him. You expect it. You definitely expect that. I don't know if they're actually going to be able to. As we talked about this morning, I think it's going to be expensive to move him. But I do think that they're going to shop him. I think it makes sense to not wait on that at all now that Jordan Poole is signed. I'm looking at Julius Randle. That's a player who could be moved before the season starts. Even though I think he slots in just fine with what they're doing and they have no problem not trading him right now, I think at any given moment, if they can move that contract, they'll be very happy to. It doesn't matter when. And so other teams who may want to move right now may be looking at that piece and saying, okay, well, his contract sucks, but so do the stuff we have. So maybe you'd be willing. That kind of thing I can expect to be possible. So, you just see that around the league. There's some unexpected guys that I think could possibly be on the move too. I won't mention because it really doesn't hold any merit right now. But as things manifest, you could totally see where certain contracts just don't really make any sense based on the young players that are up and coming behind some of those guys. It's like, why keep that contract? Or your timeline, for example, doesn't necessarily make sense for what it is you now want to do. The Knicks are the number one team because it's like they got a bunch of contracts that are no good, a bunch of young players that they probably should want, and then obviously Wembanyama in place with an opportunity to possibly get lucky. So why would they want to keep Julius Randle? Why would they want to keep Evan Fournier? Meanwhile, if you look at Evan Fournier, his contract is horrible. But if you look at a team like the Los Angeles Lakers, yeah, we need shooting better than anybody. Evan Fournier would be exactly what we need. Maybe not at that price, but you could totally see, the Lakers kicking the can on something like that if it made sense to them, or some variation of a shooting player coming our way that maybe has a contract that ain't all that favorable. So these are things that are possible. Obviously, if you know me, I'm waiting. I'm telling the Lakers to hold on to their picks for something greater. I don't know if they're going to be able to, based on the atmosphere that we're seeing right now with Russell Westbrook and how everything seems to be going right now. I don't know if they'll be able to hold on for as long as necessary without it being a big problem for the team. And, as I've said, I think we should send Russell home because of it. I don't think we should have that looming over us. I think we should be able to trade him in any given moment and not have it be a problem for the team and not have to try to incorporate him in places that he doesn't fit. I listened to, you know, Trevor Lane, I believe it was, and it might have been Trevor Lane or some of the other guys who were talking Lakers, but their opinion was that Russell Westbrook is too good of a player to not have on the roster, even though he's $47 million, because of the young players that we have on our team and the underdeveloped, the under guys, so to speak. It's important to have a caliber player of Russell Westbrook on the floor. If it helps basketball wise to have him, I don't think you just have a caliber of player on the floor just to be having him out there. Totally disagree with that. He has to be able to contribute to success, or otherwise those other lesser guys are better fit for what it is you're going to do, and you're going to play better with those guys who aren't as talented as him. Talented to say that a lot of what it is that he was able to do, he can no longer do. So it's his weaknesses that are mostly on display. So just because he's a Hall of Famer, I mean, that's not a good enough reason to send a basketball player out there who can't play ball properly for what it is that you're trying to run. Now, his cachet can be as high as Russell Westbrook or somewhere, further down, but either way, you need that piece to fit. And even more, you need that piece to not take away from the fit, which he actually does both of right now. Both. So no, I don't think that's a plus. I'd much rather run Scottie Pippen out there if I know Scottie. He'd probably give me the same turnovers, brick the same shots, but he's going to incrementally get better the more he plays. Russell's the same guy he's been for 10, 11, 12 years. You're going to send him out there, and he's going to be Groundhog Day every day, especially given the fact that that's really his MO. Triple doubles every night. So if you give him a certain role, what you're going to get is exactly what you've been getting. And that role is incrementally, little minutes here and there, couple assists, more turnovers than assists, brick shots. That's all you're going to get. That's what you have to offer him in terms of minutes. So, nah, hell no. At $47 million, the best thing he can do is not get hurt. Not get hurt is what you need from Russell Westbrook. Not having him out there just because everybody else is young. That's not real, man. Because if I'm going to think like that, then I'm going to find a player who is washed up, who fits. Somebody who ain't playing no more. I'm going to get them at a lesser price, and they still have the Hall of Fame cachet. They're Hall of Famers, but they're done. Like him. See, the difference is his price tag still has him paying at a level that he can't play at no more. That's the difference. There is no difference between him and those guys. He ain't got a spot no more than they do. It's just that we can't get rid of him. And we need to understand that. There needs to be an understanding of that. Because I think that's lost in translation. It's like people expecting Westbrook to turn back into something. Not as long as he's on this roster, because we don't have the minutes to give him anything to turn into other than what it is we've been seeing. And that must be understood. So, yeah, no. Send him home. I've been on that train. I'm going to continue to sing that tune until I hear that the Lakers have done that. Stop forcing this man to play a game he doesn't want to play that he's not good at. And that is pretending to be happy when he is unhappy. Yeah, he's not good at that game. He sucks at that game. You know what I'm saying? Seriously. So let's just be real. Send him home. It's dragging the team down. Everybody's effort is just like, I was thinking about something. Even the little moment where a person has to roll their eyes as a basketball player at something that looks ridiculous is a distraction. That little bit, it don't have to be a punch like Draymond Green or something really, really deep that keeps people up at night. No. It's just this little bit of moment where I got to sit here and say, here we go again with this idiot, when I'm not thinking about the basketball game. You understand what I'm saying? Those little bit of distractions are the type of things that you don't want to happen. Because those little lapses in moments are your turnovers that are unforced, are bad selections of shots, are missed opportunities to put a hand up on defensive situations. That's where those lapses actually land, in those moments. Guys aren't thinking about what they should have been doing the whole time because they've been having their mind focused on other things or having this distraction in place or what have you. No distractions need to be in place at all. I don't need to be rolling my eyes at anything. I need to be thinking about what the plan is for that night. And I'm sorry, it's just too much eye rolling when Russell Westbrook has all of this going on. It's too much. It's too much of a distraction for our basketball club. And we got too many young players, which is the point, for this distraction. A lot of these guys, man, they have to be focused. And so that's what it's about. And last but not least, I am a prisoner of the moment as it pertains to certain things. And we talked about this last night in the game. I just want to see us kind of upgrade our center position at this point. I like Thomas Bryant. He was the best plus minus of our team last night. So that was a good thing. When we looked at the box score, he was the only guy with a 0. Everybody else was minus. Came in and rebounded the ball. In the very little minutes he had, he got 4 boards, and I think that's why his plus minus was positive. You look at Damian Jones, he had 15 minutes, man, had 2 rebounds. Couple missed shots, of course. The turnovers just can't happen, and then just people shooting over him and scoring over him, constantly just blowing him straight through his chest and getting and ones. It just is. It's very clear to me. It's very clear to me that if we have to cut somebody, it would probably be him. I'm just gonna be real, man, because he can't shoot, can't dribble, and now people scoring through dude. He ain't rebounding either. What is he doing? What is he doing? So I think he took major steps backwards, and he's definitely somebody I'm moving on from as soon as possible. I'm cold because when I see a problem, I have to find a solution, and the way I see it is, his game is that of someone who's just passing by. There's no room for a player with his specific weaknesses. Can't do it. Just there's no way. So what I think he can do for me is catch lobs, rebound the ball to a degree some nights when he's focused, but the defensive lapses, the just getting blown through, all of that. He's not young enough for that, if that makes any sense. He's older than some of the younger guys, so he's more so who he's going to be. I'm cool, bro. I can do better. I can use that roster spot more so, and find a guy just as tall as him, just as long as him, who can do more for me. I don't have to. Nah. So the Lakers got to move on from Damian Jones. I hate to be that guy because I think his length can help us, but nah. Well, I saw enough yesterday to know that boy ain't gonna help us. Like, we need him too. And one of the reasons why we're not gonna be good enough is because of that, right? That piece right there, just cut and dry, y'all. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I know we gave 37 our 15th roster spot. I'm very happy about that. I think that is something that's going to be very important, keeping him on the team and giving him opportunities to shoot the ball. But he's going to have to be efficient shooting it. We only got 2 shooters, so we can't have 2 for 7. He's going to have to get good looks, and we're going to have to keep him hot. If he gets 2 in a row, just like I said last night, we talked about it. Got to make sure he gets the 3rd one, because what are we doing better than that offensively than to get a hot shooter the basketball? Are we shooting 8 for 33 or something like that from the 3? He hit 2 in a row. That's what you need to be doing. That's the only place you're finding threes. It's the only place you're finding threes. Bron was 0 for 4. I can't do nothing with that, man. And that's another thing. I gotta say, Bron, I was watching Carcino, and Carcino, if you follow him, he's a LeBron hater. So all that he's gonna say is gonna be about against LeBron. But he did point out a lot of what I always say frustrates me about LeBron, and that's not getting out to defensive plays. Getting out there and putting a hand up, at least flashing like you're pretending like you're going to be a part of what it needs to be doing on there, man. Because what I saw was a couple plays, maybe 1 or 2 plays, where he literally just stood and nothing took place because he was out of position. So it's like, I get it. You get to take plays off. Maybe that's on purpose to see how players scramble around you when you don't behave a certain way, when you don't. But my thing is, don't let it be a situation where you don't. I don't need that experiment. Get out there and put a hand up. So I just think that I don't have a whole lot of patience for that. Because I know when he gets out on the break and it's time to go for his power dunk, he's going to give me that. So he needs to get out there just like he sits in the chair when he wants to. He needs to do that on every play. Every play. And you'll get in better shape when you do. Giving himself breaks physically, I think is a good thing. But don't let it be to the detriment of the overall play. Plays break down. It goes left. They look at the film. What are they going to see? They're going to see LeBron James not messing up the play. And as a result, everybody else does things wrong. Because they're not going to make up for what they're supposed to be doing, because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And they're thinking about what they're supposed to be doing. So he needs to get out there, put a hand up, shuffle, man. Shuffle. I don't care if you're not pushing as hard as you need to. At least don't let the play break down because you didn't motion forward. That's all I'm saying. Seeing that footage, the play went bad because him. There wasn't no other reason. You know what I mean? It looked like it was Pat Bear's fault. It looked like it was someone else's fault, but it was actually just him. Just him. So those are the things I'm sure the coaching staff, they have to walk on eggshells because they don't want to tell him what it is. And I'm saying, get your ass out there or get out of the game. I'll say it. So Darvin doesn't. Period. And I would do it. Look, if I'm Darvin Ham, I'm setting the tone early with him. Early with him. I would rather have an argument with LeBron James than have little bitty arguments with everybody else over that one thing. I would have pulled him out the game as soon as that play took place. Set him down and wouldn't say nothing. And I would have let everybody know that I'm willing to do that when you don't get out and hand in the face to the player that's shooting and you got all this going on around you because you want to stand still. Nah, hell no. Darvin Ham needs to put an end to that when Bron does it, and everybody else will understand they can't do it either. So I think he missed an opportunity. I'd have pulled Bron out the game. I'd have called a timeout to pull him out the game in that situation. I kid you not. Kid you not. And let the politics fall where they may. And he would have got an understanding. And I'll do it every time too. Care what the score is, bro. You let a whole play break down because you don't want to get out there, I'm pulling you out the game. I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. Because when playoff time come around, we ain't having that. I still ain't forgot about the play Kyle Kuzma pushed him. That's what's necessary. He need that. He need it. And he know it. And AD need it too. Taking plays off. No, not when the team ain't talented enough. No. You set the bad habits, and then what you have is them making those plays the wrong way when you need them not to. You can turn it on and off. They can't. So you can't be the reason they making mistakes. Period. No excuses. So that's how I have to feel, man. I have to tell y'all exactly how I feel because I ain't about to just sit back and say, oh, I should have said something. No, I'm going to say something. I'm going to say something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what needs to be said. I do not respect that from nobody. Not the GOAT and not the guy on the back of the bench. So that's what it is, man. Also, Jay Huff, saw some good things from Jay Huff. I want to continue to see him. Obviously, he's going to take Damian Jones minutes. But respectfully speaking, he ain't going to be that much better in certain situations. Saw how he was trying to play the perimeter when the play fell apart. Clunky, trying to run out there to that perimeter. It's not ever going to work, ever. I can just see how that's going to go. Even if he gets better at the perimeter, he's still going to be a deficient player in that way, as most players his size are going to be. So we gotta be ready for that. Gotta be ready for that. Don't have him out there in a Jokic or something like that. He's gonna shoot right over. So, and he's long too, and he can shoot too. We gotta allow him to shoot the ball. But I do like the fact that we're establishing him in the paint, and that lob he caught was spectacular. And there's a lot of good things to him. But even in looking at Jay Huff, you definitely understand if you think you're relying on him to be your center and you're gonna win the championship. Sorry, you better get somebody a little better than him in place. And I'm telling you that right now. I like him though. Keep him, but we got to upgrade. We need to get more talented in that position. So I said that I thought Miles Turner might make a little sense, and I thought about it. I'm saying, some of the problems that we're still going to have if we get Miles Turner, because he's not a dribbler either. He can shoot the ball, but he's not going to create for himself. Some of those same plays that I was describing last night where we just have to pick our dribble up because we can't create for ourselves, he's still going to have the same problems with him. So you got to make sure you don't pick up somebody that's deficient ball handling at the 5 spot. The way our offense appears to be set up, we just ain't gonna survive it. It's gonna be bad. We're gonna get a lot of turnovers, and it's gonna be ugly. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I just understand that the Lakers didn't have their picks, so a lot of our players are players that we got in the back of the draft, and players that come at a discount. We have money, We have the best we could put together, and unfortunately, because of certain mistakes, you're just gonna have lesser talent in certain areas. So that's why I tell teams like the Brooklyn Nets and certain other teams who kind of had that problem without their picks to start over, bro. Start over. So you don't get stuck with the Damian Joneses and the players that can't move and the one-dimensional guys. Nah, you must develop your programs to where you can get the most out of these second-round guys like the Lakers are doing. But also, you got to have your picks in place so that you can have higher upside guys out the gate, so that you ain't teaching so hard, putting so much emphasis on your coaches to make guys better who just ain't that good. That's what ends up happening. Coaching staff get a bad a bad rap because they trying to drill something into somebody. Just, I mean, they only gonna get so good, and that's what happens to teams like the Lakers when you don't have your picks. When you try to put three max players together, stuff like this is what happens. You get stuck with that kind of stuff. So we're here now. It's too late to reset, but we do need to know going forward after LeBron James' tenure. You got to keep your picks, and you got to continue to stay on the young development train. Because if you don't, you get stuck with the scraps of the league, man. You get stuck with dudes can't do nothing. The guys that nobody else want, you get. So that's kind of what you have to deal with there. So, you know, I hate to be so mean, man. I know I'm mean-spirited when I speak to a certain degree, but man, I'm not trying to be. I'm just looking at my team and saying this is what's wrong. It's right before the season. We got to fix some things, or we're gonna suck. And I'm telling you right now, it's going to get to a point, and I've already started thinking of this. It's the first time I'm saying this, but it's going to get to a point where you're going to look at your season and you're going to say, we ain't going to be good enough even if we make a trade. So we probably be better to hold on to our picks. And Bron is going to hate us for that. He going to hate us for that. But even he has to see that it's going to get to a point where it may get there, where our assets are just not good enough to move for something that's good enough to get us great. You know, especially if our bigs are going to be a problem. Now, I didn't think our bigs was going to be a problem. I thought we had enough of them, and I thought they'd be talented enough to just get us over the hump. Now I'm like, no, we got to replace some dudes. They're not going to work. With that changes what we need to get in regards to those two picks. That changes how much we can afford to pay for a certain piece or two. So it's like, damn it. You know what I'm saying? This is why you don't want to include a Stanley Johnson in a trade to get back a Pat Beverly, because this is when you actually need a Stanley Johnson to try to trade for something else. Or this is when you need Stanley Johnson so you don't have to lean on certain players that you would otherwise not have to give up. You know, it's just a rough sledding here. But we're learning our lesson. We know what we have to do, and I think the next tenure, when we get our next superstar, hopefully the Lakers will do things a lot smarter in terms of keeping that organic asset group in place. Your natural born picks, keep those, value them a bit more, because you see what's on the way. Certain teams are going to be able to look at their situation and say, nah, let's tank for Webb. We cannot, because that pick belongs to somebody else now. We traded it away for AD. Webb will be playing with Zion, unless they traded that pick somewhere. I don't know, maybe they did, but that's the point. It ain't coming to us. We can suck that bad, but it's going somewhere else. So it's like, we got to do the best with what we have at this point. And at this point, all we can really do is take our little picks, look at the fact that everybody wants Wembanyama, and put those picks at the highest possible price and try to trade them. And you know what I mean? And attaching them to a hurt Russell Westbrook is not the best way to do that, unfortunately. But we have to, unfortunately. So there we are, man. There we are. Hopefully we can get the most out of these bigs, man. Hopefully it can make me feel a lot better. But Damian Jones, I'm just all the way out, bro. You'd have got cut last night if I was rolling things. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. It's two players that now have to go in my mind. It's him and Russell Westbrook. Can't do this. Can't do this, man. I'm sorry. I just don't have a whole lot of patience for certain things. And what I saw last night from a big man, that's going to drive me absolutely crazy. Crazy, bro. You're getting scored on. You turn the ball over. It's no rebounds. No. No dribbling, picking up the ball. No. Hell no. Hell no, man. Hell no. Anyway, enough of my negative energy. I thank you guys for being patient with your boy. I'm going to try to see if my food is ready, as always. And, yeah, man. Last thing I want to say is, you know, organizational decisions have to be made promptly. Just like the selling of stock and property and all of that, it has to be done at the right time. And I think when you're stopping the bleeding on certain things, you don't want to misevaluate what you're looking at and say, oh, it sucks, and cut it off and then you needed it. But you also don't want to let something sit for too long, know that it's not for you, and then now you can't necessarily get rid of it as easy or what have you. It's already done the damage it's going to do and ruin your team. We did that with Frank Vogel, in my humble opinion, last year. We did that with holding on to some of them older guys early in the season and not fixing those roster issues. We need to not make that decision this year with Russell Westbrook and some of these roster issues here. I think our coaching situation is perfectly fine. I'm happy. Darvin Ham is doing all I want to see him do, but he has to manage this crap. And that's what we're seeing. It's not a smooth sailing situation. He has to manage the Westbrook situation. He has to manage the missing players. He has to manage the minutes that has to go to Bron and AD, but they're not always out there in the preseason. It's like continuity's hard to find. He got to pretend like he want to do this with Russell Westbrook, word things a certain way so Russell's ego be in place. I get it. That's what he signed up for as a Laker. But not for guys who ain't going to play well enough for that. No, I'm sorry. So this is where I'm at with it. As a fan, I just want us to make the organizational decisions early this year. You know something's not going to get it done? Pull it out of there soon. Don't mull over it for too long. You'll punt the whole season doing that. That's all I got to say. Let's remove some of these antagonists from Darvin Ham's way. That's what my request is. There are certain roster antagonists. Remember what I said about 40 Jones. Bring him back. That's Mason Jones, for those who are wondering. We need to re-establish his roster spot and give him some of those minutes that otherwise need to be given to players that just cannot create for themselves but need to be in pick and roll situations. He is the great help for that. A great help for that. So I think we need to prioritize that as well. And just don't be afraid to make early decisions. That's what I'm saying. Look, this player, we know he can't play. Boom, get him out of here. That player, we know he's not going to be right the situation. Boom, get him out of here. Because we only got one chance to get this right. And that is why the urgency. So that's what I got to say, man. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.